What? What?
Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by myself. Streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Steele. Boom! It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and we are live. Now, the other day, we were going to talk about the quarterback list, and we're going to talk about the top 10 quarterbacks the Cowboys will be facing. And that's what we're going to do today. Cowboys start camp 3 days away. It's going to be, I think, one of the most competitive Cowboys camps in recent memory. This offense against this defense, it's going to be crazy. But what we really want to see is this defense just absolutely tear apart opposing quarterbacks. So we'll talk about the quarterbacks the Cowboys will be facing and the top 10 rankings of said quarterbacks. And of course, in the roundup, we got a little bit more Cowboys news. We touched on it briefly yesterday in regards to one Zach Martin. So we'll dive into that a little bit more and another update on our guy Terence Steele as well. But what's good, Bomb Squad? How y'all doing, man?
Bomb Squad!
Finally getting a little bit of love here in the national media as well from an analyst that we'll get to before we get into the meat potatoes of the show. So it's Friday. I'm excited. Not only because it's Friday, everybody should be excited because it's Friday, but because we do have Cowboys training camp next week. And here is how the schedule will go. On Monday, they are flying out to Oxnard, and then they start about the 25th. They'll do kind of probably a walkthrough opening ceremony type of situation. And then the real practices begin on Wednesday. However, in my opinion, the real practices begin when those pads come on the following week on July 31st, I believe, is pad week, and they'll keep the pads on from there all the way until I believe the start of the season. Now, there might be some days where it'll be shells or what have you, but the start of pad week is really where you'll start to see guys like Mozzie Smith, the offensive line, going up against each other. Micah Parsons, he's going to be embarrassing some dudes out there, and you'll see some of these linebackers be able to rush the passer as well. So I'm excited for that part of it. But nonetheless, man, we get a chance to finally see these Cowboys head out to Oxnard, and I couldn't be more excited about it, Cowboys Nation. All right? So if y'all want to call into the show, we had a crazy show on Wednesday. We had a crazy show Wednesday speaking about the running back room or the running back market. Let me turn this back up because I just went down. About the running back market. And that kind of carried the show, which is why we are where we are today. Now, if you do want to call in and bring that back up, that's all fine and dandy. But today we're going to pull out this rankings list, and it's a little bit different. The way I'm going to do this list isn't necessarily the top 10 offenses or anything like that, or the top 10 quarterbacks in total, but the top 10 quarterbacks that pose the biggest threat to the Cowboys per se individually, which is very vague. Because you need the offensive line, you need the weapons and things like that. But it's open for debate as well. That's why I do a lot of these shows, is to garner the conversation. All right. So with that said, we're getting through all the goods here in the morning. Let's go ahead and hit this roundup, Cowboys Nation.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you. So before the show, yesterday, we got the breaking news in a way. I guess it's breaking news is in July. But we got the notification that Zach Martin is threatening to sit out of training camp. Now, we'll see, because to actually sit means you're going to be getting fined and you're losing money, et cetera, et cetera. But I think this was more of a way to say, hey, I'm over here too, and I want to get paid my market value type of situation. In 2018, Zach Martin signed a 6-year deal, and he's played about 5 years of it so far, with multiple restructures, by the way. So he's been a good Samaritan for the most part, right? Not only has he been a good Samaritan, but he's been a damn good player, an elite player at his position, a Hall of Fame player at his position, still playing at an extremely high level. And I saw this statistic on Get Up the other day. Since 2019, with Zach Martin on the field, the Cowboys sack percentage is at 4.5 and the QBR is at 64. And that 64 QBR, I think, would put them in the top 10. Off the field, however, 6.7 sack percentage and the QBR dips below league average, which is 50. That's about average of where you want to be. So clearly his importance is there. Clearly his importance is there when you look at the run game as well, when you run behind Big Zach Martin, or you get him pulling behind Big Zach Martin. Then there's the business aspect of it, though, right? Oh, well, Sky, he's 33. If you pay him, he's getting up there in age. Me personally, guys like Zach Martin at that position, as long as they can continue to play at that level, I keep them around as long as I possibly can, if they want to be kept around. And that was the question that I had, at least, that was kind of being put out there. I think it was Bobby Belt who was a bit skeptical that, hey, maybe Zach Martin might be wanting to hang this thing up. Now, he never came out and said it, but that was just kind of his thought on it. Well, if Zach Martin wants to get an extension, he wants to continue to play, right? And if he wants to continue to play and he's playing at this level, I'm all about keeping him around as long as possible. And if you extend him, it can help you extend others. He's got an $11 million cap hit this season, a $23 million cap hit next year. If you were to, I'm not going to throw out any numbers, but if you were to extend his contract a couple seasons, you can spread out that cap hit, lower it, and it'll help you sign other guys. So I don't necessarily look at this as some bad situation if they were to extend him. Now, the bad part is him potentially holding out. You don't like that. However, if you were to extend a future Hall of Famer still playing at a high level, no one should be upset about that. But I do see there's a divide here, at least online, in regards to Cowboys Nation, whether they want to extend Zach Martin or they do not. So I'll ask you here, Bomb Squad. Would you, or should you, or do you think the Cowboys should extend one Zach Martin? I do. I believe they should extend Zach Martin. It will help out everyone else to get a chance to get under the cap, because that's the very first thing that Stephen Jones is going to say. Oh, we got to get under the cap. We got to get everybody fit under the cap. Well, spread the cap hit out the next couple seasons. You'll be able to do it. But do you think the Cowboys should extend one Zach Martin? Say yes, man. Y'all know I've been saying it since the end of the season. You got about a 2-year window, a really good 2-year window. Now, my overall thought process is if you have a franchise quarterback, there is no window. However, understanding where the money's at right now, there's no extension on Dak or what have you. You've got a 2-year window to make something shake. So I'm not necessarily worried about money 3 or 4 years down the line. Because you're not going to get a crazy cap hit the next 2 seasons if you extend him and spread this thing out. So I'm looking to try to keep as many of my top players as possible to go out there and win number 6 over the next 2 seasons. So I'm all for extending Zach Martin here, man. I don't see how this can end up being a bad situation. Not this guy. If this was Dorrance Armstrong trying to stronghold the Cowboys, last year it was Dalton Schultz, laughably trying to stronghold the Cowboys. You look at him, Dalton Schultz coming in there. Hey, man, I need my extension.
Motherfucker, for what?
For what? You're not Zach Martin. This is Zach Martin, a leader, team captain, Hall of Famer, still playing at the highest level, the best guard in the game. Yeah, we can have a conversation and try to get this thing done. Absolutely. Speaking of offensive line, my cousin, Terence Steele, was out there moving around again. He's dropping all these videos, man. I know a lot of people are a little bit worried about Terence Steele and his ability to play due to what's going on with the ACL and recovering and coming back early. But man, the more and more he puts out, things like this, I don't know how you don't get confident. Now, again, we are in July. It's just a workout video. Nobody's pushing him or trying to not tackle him, but get to the quarterback or whatnot. But I mean, the kid is looking good. This is probably the 3rd or 4th one that we've seen. We know that he was out there at OTAs. He didn't necessarily get a chance to do 11 on 11 or 7 on 7 or anything like that. But from all accounts, from everyone that we've been talking to, right? We've had Patrick Walker down here. He looks ready to go in the sense of week 1. Now, Mike McCarthy did come out a few months ago and say, we'll see what Terence Steele looks like once we get down there and at training camp. So he may start off training camp on the pup, very similar to, I think it was years ago, if y'all remember this. Byron Jones, I want to say Byron started off on pup early in camp and then came off of pup and everything was good to go. So if you start off on pup during camp, it's not necessarily a major deal. It's if you finish training camp on pup, then you miss those 4 games. I don't necessarily see that happening for Terence. I love seeing him move around like this. I love hearing all the positive things that we've heard about Terence Steele, and I think he'll be ready for week 1. I truly do. That could be just my super optimistic take on it, but everything seems to be pointing that way, and not just ready, right? In the sense of, hey, yeah, you can go out there and suit up, but ready to play and be good for you again. Because this isn't some 33, 34-year-old dude coming off ACL. This is a young guy, extremely high work ethic, has developed his talents. He wasn't the most talented coming out, but he is developing into a talented player, and he's been around this offense. So I trust that he can come out here and work with Zach Martin. I trust that he can come out here and hold down that right side immediately. So I'm excited for T. Steele, my cousin. All right, before we get to the top 10 list, we already got a couple callers, or a caller. So let's get to that, because I'm pretty sure my guy D Schiff is calling in here to talk about this Zach Martin thing. Am I right, D Schiff?
Yeah, man, I want to do I got a encroachment on the play, man. I got to jump the play.
Got a flag on the play?
But I just got to jump the play, man. I got to get a false start on just on everything.
Okay, what's up?
Got to jump it. With the quarterback thing, man, I've been I told you, man, I've been kind of I wouldn't call it YouTubing, man. It's more like just journaling for myself, man. More like just doing research.
Yeah, you got to do that.
And it's been fun to look at other teams, man, and kind of journal my thoughts on them, so I can go back and look at it and see what those teams look like. But as of now, man, I'm going to give you my top 10 for the quarterbacks, bro. Can I do that? Or is that...
No, go. It's your top 10 list. Yeah, you definitely off sides. I need to get my flag. Offside.
I'm gonna put it this way. Yeah, I'm gonna put it this way. Then
yeah.
I'm gonna talk about the 4 that I better not see on your list.
That's much better. Go ahead.
I should not see Washington. I should not see the Patriots. I shouldn't see an Arizona quarterback, nor should I see the Niners quarterback.
I'll give you a hint. You almost got that spot on. Very, very, very close.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. This is a great segue, because I'm going to explain the teams that I have off the list, and the number 10 will start the controversy of the list. But I like it.
That's what's up, man. All right, man. Well, I just got to touch bases with you, bro. So I appreciate everything you do.
Salute. Thanks.
Big dog.
We'll call it encroachment. No, we'll call it lining up in the neutral zone, because he didn't quite hit anybody or jump off sides. He just lined up in the neutral zone. But I think it's a very good way to lead into the next topic. So here's what I'm gonna do. He talked about teams that he better not see on the list, and that's exactly how I was going to start this thing out. Teams that I don't think are going to be on this list. Quarterbacks, I should say. Arizona. Kyler Murray likely will not be playing against the Cowboys. Okay? So I'm not putting him up there. I'm not putting Colt McCoy up there over a couple of these other guys. I like a couple of these other quarterbacks better than I do like Colt McCoy. And I respect Colt McCoy, so that's no disrespect to Colt McCoy. He also got the Patriots right. I do not have Mac Jones in this top 10. And he also got San Francisco right. Not a believer in Sam Darnold. Granted, maybe he could turn it around with Kyle Shanahan. That's very possible. Brock Purdy, I don't even know if he'll be able to play by week 5. But if I was confident he would, maybe I'd swap these two teams out. Then Trey Lance is just nothing there for me to confidently put Trey Lance. Here's where the disconnect comes between me and D Shift. I cannot put Bryce Young on this list. I can't do it. I like the kid. I think he'll be good for the Carolina Panthers, but he's a rookie. So I kind of omitted him from this list. Thus, at number 10, I've got a combination of the Washington football team's quarterbacks. And this is me cheating a little bit here. Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. Me personally, I would start Jacoby Brissett if I was Washington, but if they're looking for their guy, they probably would start the young buck. I have a very high respect for Jacoby Brissett bars. I think no matter where he goes, he's a very good bridge quarterback for a team. And for a team like Washington, if he's not the starter, 9 times out of 10, he might be a starter. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Dan Snyder effect. By the way, if y'all haven't noticed that he sold the team or whatever, but it could be the Dan Snyder jinx, but these quarterbacks almost never play majority of the season for Washington over the last decade. They usually play multiple quarterbacks about half of the season. So Howe might start, but Brissett will likely come in, or vice versa. So at number 10, I got Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, and I have to include Brissett, or I probably wouldn't have put Washington football people here. It's just that if I look at the history of this team, they normally have two quarterbacks. And Brissett is not chopped liver. He's a guy that if he needs to come in for a few games, he can keep you competitive. I mean, he's done it everywhere he's been in the league for the most part. By the way, he's one of the quarterbacks that were taken in front of Dak Prescott, if you guys remember. As for Sam Howell, yes, he beat the Cowboys last year. Ran around. He did throw an interception. Also had a touchdown. He gave us some problems. He was annoying. He was like a gnat more than he was a wasp or anything like that. He wasn't going to sting you. Just was a little bit annoying. You ain't see him coming. So number 10, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett. Should they be off the list entirety, as my guy D Shift said? And who would you replace them with? If you look at the schedule again here, who would you replace these guys with? Bryce Young, the trio of the San Francisco quarterbacks, Mac Jones, Colt McCoy. Any of them? I mean, you could probably make a legitimate argument for any of them. You could probably make a legitimate argument, but I don't have them on. I don't have any of these guys up there because I have a more respect for what Jacoby Brissett has been able to do across the league than the other guys. By the way, the bottom five of this list, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe the Cowboys have, without question, the quarterback advantage. So I'm not even going to ask that question. I don't think there's a debate. When we get to the top 5, then I'll ask the question because I want to know if there's a debate to you guys out there. So number 10 is Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell. Number 9, White Vic. Whoever came up with that, oh, wow. This man is not White Vic, although he do be out there scrambling. Daniel Jones falls in at number 9 in my top 10 opposing quarterbacks versus the Cowboys. Look, man, Daniel Jones got the bag. Congratulations, getting your money. He had a career year, 15 touchdowns. Ran the ball well. Shout out to Brian Daboll. And this is why this list can be tricky, right? Because individually, a lot of these quarterbacks we're going to have low on this list. You could argue their surroundings or their offensive coordinator or schemes could elevate them when you're talking about the totality of the offense. But just the quarterbacks posing the biggest threat. I got Daniel Jones down here at number 9, man. His biggest threat to me is still his legs. I'm just not afraid of Daniel Jones as a thrower. He's going to need, look, every quarterback needs help. Every quarterback needs, players, coaching, scheme, etc. But I think if I had to put a number on it, man, 75% of what Daniel Jones can do from a threatening standpoint is going to come from scheme, from Brian Daboll, man. I'm not afraid of this guy at all. He doesn't do anything for me. I don't care if you had Daboll, McVay, Shanahan, all in one. Daniel Jones comes in at number 9. Too high or too low, Cowboys Nation. Swain said, with no Saquon, who is Danny? What if Saquon doesn't play? Saquon Barkley doesn't. I mean, he'll play. But it's week 1. What if Saquon says, well, I'm going to send a message week 1 and not play? Boy, we're going to tear Sam. Sam, I almost called him Sam. Daniel Jones at number 9 to me. If this was overall quarterback list, you'd be like, damn, that's too high, Scott. But I think this is just about right. I'm going to put him above the Sam Howells and the Jacoby Brissetts. But that's about it. That's about it for me. Career high. 15 tutties. All right, number 8. Geno Smith. Now, this is where I think you could start moving this list around a little bit. Geno Smith had a career year, and I'm going to probably push back on myself here. You could argue his career year was part because of what their offense coordinator was able to do for him. However, I think he looked way better than Daniel Jones. Way better as a passer. And this is also where I'm going to push back on myself when speaking about weapons and things. He does have a crazy set of weapons. However, I'm talking about just the quarterback. And if I'm talking about just the quarterback, Geno had a great year. Can Geno do it again? Possible. Everybody's returning. Very possible. But I think Geno could have. We're gonna tread lightly here. Y'all remember Rich Gannon? Rich Gannon really kind of took off later in his career. Not that he wasn't a solid quarterback earlier, but he kind of had a second wave later on in his career. It just feels like Geno could have that. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be an MVP or anything like that. That what Rich Gannon was back in the early 2000s, but some quarterbacks kind of just have that second wave, and it's very few and far in between. Have that second wave where they're very serviceable guys. And Geno just looked composed last year, humbled. He bought in, and he just looks like a guy that I think could end up having that second wave. So I got Geno at number 8 here. Too high or too low? Too high or too low? And that's the thing, right? I see some people ready to bring up the receivers. This is why this list can be tricky, because especially with this next guy I'm about to bring up. If we're talking about weapons like we did the other day, passing attacks, or if we're talking about overall offenses, you could argue Seattle is much higher, right? You could argue this goes much higher. But we're just talking about quarterbacks that pose the biggest threat to you themselves. I think Geno falls down on that list. This one is a bit tricky. Number 7, Tua Tagovailoa. How crazy is it that 2 weeks ago we did top 10, or was it top 5 passing attacks, and I had this team as number 1. And it was mostly because of Hill and because of Waddle, right? Like, those two guys to me pose maybe the biggest threat from a receiving standpoint due to their ridiculous speed and how Hill can be used all over the field. But the caveat I kept saying during that whole time was, well, what Tua are we getting? All right, what about Tua? I'm not sold on Tua individually, right? Like, in the sense of, can Tua get planted anywhere and ball out? I don't know about that. Mike Daniels definitely is a big part of this. And I said that when Mike Daniels got hired by Miami. I said Mike Daniels is going to help Tua be extremely productive just based off his scheme. So if you include the scheme, you include the weapons, obviously this team would be higher. But just Tua individually, I mean, look, I know he can move around, but he doesn't scare me with his legs much. His arm doesn't really, his arm is fine. His decision making it got better with the Daniel Jones. With the Daniel Jones. It got better with the Mike McDaniels. But one hit and Tua down. I'm not calling the man soft. These quarterbacks are tough. But, it don't take too much to rattle this guy. So I got Tua down at number 7. This is where you could probably argue him coming higher. But once we look at this list, you might notice that this is about right here. Tua Tagovailoa number 7. Too high, too low? Too high, too low? Mike McDaniels is logic. He is. Almost quite literally logic. They both mix, but down. Look at. Mel said he was terrible at times last year. He was. He was. It's a weird stat out there with Tua. I think it's when he started and finished games, I think prior to the first time he got out, they were like 6-0 or something like that. It was a crazy number. And then he got the first concussion and then the second concussion, and things got really weird for Tua to end the season. But I believe in Tua with Mike McDaniels if he's healthy. But do I think Tua can just take over the game and just whoop you if things are a little weird? Nah, I'm not really confident in him to do that just quite yet. a little bit more needs to be seen from Tua Tagovailoa. Number 6, Jared Goff. Reoccurring theme here is offenses, schemes, help, etc. Cowboys played Jared Goff last year, and I think we did a fantastic job against Jared Goff. I respect him. A throwback quarterback in the sense of, he went number 1 when he went number 1 in 2016. He probably went number 1 in 92 because he's just that kind of drop back quarterback. He can make all the throws. He doesn't wow you with anything really. But when you dive into their offense, where he did wow you was on play action. But again, that's schematically. But Jared Goff hitting this top 5 from an individual quarterback standpoint, he's just outside of it to me. His body of work is larger than Tua, larger than Daniel Jones, Sam Howell, Brissett, these guys. He has a larger body of work in this league. So I respect Jared Goff. But, no one is really fearing Jared Goff. What they fear probably is a combination of what he can do in a Ben Johnson scheme, which, again, that is an offensive coordinator that will likely be a head coach sometime soon, if not next year, because he has a fantastic scheme from a running standpoint and a passing standpoint. He gets these guys on the move, and Jared Goff takes advantage of it, or took advantage of it in the back half of the season. The first half of the season, it was pretty bad. But the back half of the season, the dude, I don't even know if he threw a pick, but he might have threw like 1 interception, and I think it was against the Cowboys. That was it. Very strange 2 seasons for Jared Goff, but I respect him. And I'll leave it at that. So let's review the bottom 5 here. 6 was Jared Goff. 7 was Tua Tagovailoa. 8 was Geno Smith. 9 was Daniel Jones. And number 10 was a combination of Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. Now, obviously, you guys are probably aware now who will be in the top 5 of this ranking. But how does that look to some of y'all? I kind of want to talk it out with y'all. How does that look with some of y'all? Goff, Tua, Geno, Daniel Jones, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett. And like I said, I left off guys like Bryce Young from Carolina. I left off the trio of quarterbacks from San Fran. I left off Mac Jones and whoever is going to be out there for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if it's going to be Colt McCoy or somebody else. I highly doubt it's going to be Kyler Murray. He tore his ACL pretty late in the season. I don't think he'll be back by week 3. If you had to move a guy up or down, what number would you put him? Let's talk about it. Shift says Stafford's too high. I mean, I'm about to say he's actually about to come up, but we'll talk about it. A guy like Goff is a guy we've all seen a million times. The dude that will always be overrated because he's a big white guy with a nice arm that can make any throw, but a moron. Damn, Chris. Sheesh. Tell him how you really feel. Tell him how you really feel. So with that list, I don't think it's any debate about the quarterback advantage. Not even, it shouldn't even be a debate nationally, but because that's where a lot of this debate goes with Dak versus other quarterbacks. But the Cowboys have Dak Prescott. He has the advantage easily over those. Now I want to get into the top 5 and see if that's where the conversation kind of shifts with some of y'all. Not everybody, but there's some people out there that believe a lot of these guys are better. So number 5 is Matthew Stafford for me. I'm sorry, and again, I haven't talked about injuries or anything like that, right? But there's just no way you can sell the goods to me that how Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, or Jared Goff are better quarterbacks than Matt Stafford. Now, I can tell you that Dak's better, but that's not what we're talking about. Those guys aren't better, so that's why I put him here. He's a guy that can and has shown and proven that he can actually be a threat if all things aren't working out in that game. I mean, over his career, the course of his career, he's up there in game-winning drives and statistics like fourth quarter comebacks and whatnot with Detroit. So I don't know how you could realistically argue Matt Stafford be below those other 5 guys. So that's why I have him coming in here at number 5. Now, does that mean that the Cowboys can't whoop ass? No, they did that to Matt Stafford last year. But based off of his peers, off of his competitors below him, I think this is just about right in this list. Got Matt Stafford at number 5. Where would you put Matt Stafford, Gregory? Sell me the goods of who is better than Matthew Stafford on this list. Now, again, I'm not talking about injuries. I'm not talking about weapons. I'm not talking about scheme or anything like that. When it comes to being a threat at quarterback that individually you look at and say, hey, man, that guy can take over for a game winner. That guy can take over during a game. Really doesn't matter what he got out there on him. I think Matt Stafford has showed that he's better than Jared Goff. He's better than, Tua. I don't think Tua, Geno, that's only one you could argue is Goff. And I don't even know if that's even arguable because Matt Stafford's body of work is better than Jared Goff's in regards to just that being a threat. So I got Matt Stafford here at number 5. This is for who we play. So if you are missed, by the way, I have to remember there are people that are just jumping in here. This list, if you read I believe it's here we go. Top 10 quarterbacks the Cowboys defense will face in 2023. Because there might be some confusion here. This isn't top 10 quarterbacks across the league. This is top 10 quarterbacks the Cowboys defense will play. And I got Matt Stafford at number 5. Number 4. Eagle fans, close your ears. I know y'all want him to be number 1, but can't do it. Won't do it. But I will be respectful here. I got Jalen Hurts. So this is where we can start talking about these guys moving around and throwing at the same damn time. Reason why you could argue him being more of a threat is because his legs are a threat. And he did show improvements as a passer last year. And to say his legs are a threat is probably an understatement. His legs might be still his number 1 weapon. But hey, I'm just saying. I do think there is no debate about him being above the guys from 6 to 10. You could maybe argue, some people might argue Matt Stafford above Jalen Hurts, but I think Jalen Hurts would be number 4 is about right in regards to threats facing the Cowboys defense because he is a fantastic runner and he has grown as a passer. And as much as I would love to see Jalen Hurts fall flat on his face, I don't think he will because nothing has changed around him. I think he'll continue to be a very solid a very good quarterback. But will he be a very good quarterback against this defense this year? Against the Cowboys defense. He was all right. That's the thing. He wasn't that great against the Cowboys defense on the road, Monday Night Football, whatever it was. I'm sorry, at home, Monday Night Football, whatever it was. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns in the red zone, little easy ones drawn up. But he wasn't that great in my opinion. However, I do think that Jalen Hurts has earned some respect in this league to be considered among the better guys. But to call him the best or to call him better than some of these other quarterbacks, I think it's going to take more than 1 year, right? It's going to take more than 1 year. And that's where some might argue Matt Stafford over Jalen Hurts, right? But I'm going to go with Jalen here. But they're touching tags. Number 3, a lot of y'all boys quarterback. Kellen Moore's boy, Justin Herbert. Now, look, this is a list of quarterbacks the Cowboys will be facing, not top 10 quarterbacks among the entire National Football League. Because if you rate him at number 3, a lot of people are going to go off because of his resume and not him not having played in the postseason well and winning games and whatnot. Look, I get all that. I 100% get all that. But Justin Herbert is probably, if you were to put together a prototypical quarterback in today's game, you probably put it together with Justin Herbert. Big arm, accurate quarterback, immobile, can move around, strong, tough. He kind of has everything you want in a quarterback in today's game. For him, it's very similar to that. It's just about finishing and the end results where his legacy is going to go. But I mean, look, we can poo-poo the list that have him above Dak in general, when we're talking from Cowboy fans. But as an actual quarterback, I don't know how you watch a football and you think Justin Herbert is not one of the better quarterbacks in this league. I mean, he's 100% a top 10 quarterback in this league. I don't even know that that's debatable. All right. So when you're talking about quarterbacks that pose a threat, I've watched Justin Herbert with sometimes chopped liver out there go toe to toe against the best quarterbacks and teams in this league. So there's no doubt in my mind that he belongs in this top 5 list right here. And I do think he's better than a Matt Stafford and a Jalen Hurts. I think he poses a bigger threat than both of those guys at this stage in their careers. I do. So number 3 for me is Justin Herbert. Here's where I thought it would get a little bit controversial. So y'all let me know. 3 Herbert, 4 Hurts, 5 Stafford. Would you guys move those around? Would you guys move those around? He'll be in shotgun every place. Is great. Again, that's why I try to set this thing up. If we take into account schematics and whatnot, total offenses, offensive lines, weapons, y'all know who my number 1 was for when it came to a passing attack. It was the Dolphins, because I was dealing with those receivers and that scheme with Mike McDaniels. That's the time that we did take those dudes into account. Number 2, Josh Allen. Whoa. Why isn't he number 1? Or why isn't, you don't know who number 1 is. We'll get to that in a second. Why isn't he number 1? Well, because he's number 2. The number 1 guy, it shouldn't even, we understand why he's number 1, but because he's number 2. Look, Josh Allen is another quarterback that gets the same, hey, he hasn't finished or he hasn't won. Look, that's not the conversation we having. Top 10 quarterbacks that pose a threat to the Cowboys, Josh Allen is a better version, in my opinion, of Jalen Hurts. He can beat you with his legs. He's a tough quarterback. He has the arm. He can beat you with his arm. He's not going to be easy to play against. Now, that doesn't mean you can't beat him. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're just talking about top 10 guys that it's going to be toughest to really play this year. And Josh Allen is arguably a top 5 quarterback in this league. I say arguably because some people might knock him down based off what happened last year. But I don't think this is really arguable. I think you could maybe touch tags with, they are touching tags. You can maybe swap Josh Allen with Herbert if you want. You can swap him with Hurts if you want. I'm not going to fight you on it. But I do think Josh Allen is one of the toughest quarterbacks that you're going to face this season. And that's not even much of a debate here, man. Not even much of a debate. And number 1, the bad man himself, Aaron Rodgers. Look, I'm done saying this and that about A-Rod when he plays the Cowboys. Is he the best quarterback on this list? Probably not. Not anymore. Not at 40, damn near. But does he pose the biggest threat? Yep. Why? Well, damn it, we can't beat him. Look, until we can beat Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how he's not the number 1 Dallas Cowboy killer. Since 2009, he's 6-1 versus Dallas. The one loss came in Dak and Zeke's rookie year, 2016, 7 years ago. He has a 103 quarterback rating versus the Cowboys. Oh, well, Sky, he's not better than Josh, or he's not better than Herbert. He's not better than Jay. Whatever, man. You can have that fight. But what I do know is 7 games played since 2009, he's beat the Cowboys in 6 of them. With different variations of help. Whether it be top flight help in Green Bay, or whether it be with nobody out there, Costco workers. He chopped up the Cowboys last year with maybe arguably his worst receiving core that he's ever had in his career. So I'm sorry. He's number 1 to me. Aaron Rodgers, until the Cowboys can bury this man, he is the number 1 Dallas Cowboy killer. He is the number 1 Cowboy quarterback threat, no matter which defense is. It's A-Rod. It's A-Rod, man. Tell me I'm wrong. Or prove it to me that I'm wrong, that Aaron Rodgers is not the number one Dallas Cowboy quarterback or Dallas Cowboy killer at the quarterback position. So I'll let y'all fuss and debate in the chat. In the meantime, in between time, let me get my guy, my brother. And this is a perfect time to bring him in here because we are going to be back up and running next week. But the one and only, the great Vosh Lombardi. What's good, bro?
Listen here, bro. Daniel Jones so terrible, dog. Oh, wait, time, man. First of all, fantastic show, by the way, man.
Thanks,
Love
man.
you, bro. It's been a minute. You know what I'm saying? Right back in the saddle on Monday. Can't
Yes,
wait.
sir.
Listen, Daniel Jones so terrible, dog. You know what I mean? I wish that it was something you could do to just keep him off the list. I wish it was just like a top 8, so we ain't got to talk about Daniel Jones. You know what I'm talking about? I just wish it was. And look, the more I started thinking about it, Will, still, I'm just thinking about Daniel Jones, bro. Like he first of all, he's done nothing. Right,
yeah,
he's done nothing to even be considered dangerous on this list, right? I tweeted the other day, and I'm not gonna yell, right, because it's way early in the morning, people ain't had their coffee yet. I tweeted the other day, right? If you don't like Dak Prescott, fine. I'm cool with you not liking Dak Prescott, right? But you can't dislike Dak Prescott and like Daniel Jones at the same time. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at your list in reference to danger to the Cowboys, Will Steele. At least Sam Howell beat us before. I don't think Daniel Jones. I don't even think Daniel Jones has even beat Dak Prescott. Dak hasn't lost to the Giants since Eli Manning was there. So since Daniel Jones has been in the saddle, he's never beat Dak Prescott. I'm not gonna scream on your show, big dog. I started thinking about Brock Purdy, right? At least Brock Purdy won a 9-game win streak. Daniel Jones ain't never in no goddamn 9-game win streak. I'd rather put Brock Purdy and Sam Howell over damn Daniel Jones. Look, let me tell you something, Will Steele. I started thinking about Kyler Murray. And boy, as much as I dislike Kyler Murray, and boy, as much as I think Kyler Murray ain't bad, boy, as much as I think the Arizona Cardinals gonna have the number 1 overall pick, I think damn Kyler Murray more dangerous than damn Daniel Jones, Will Steele.
Sure.
This is what I hope. Let me tell you something that I hope, Will Steele.
Yeah.
I hope Saquon don't play. If Saquon don't play, Daniel Jones will have to wipe a lot of sweat off his forehead because he's going to have to figure out something.
Yeah.
He's going to have to figure out something. And if he crumbles without Saquon Barkley, I'm going to set the internet ablaze, Will Steele. I'm going to set it ablaze. I'm going to ride in the streets because Daniel Jones is getting way too much respect from people. And look, it ain't even just like the, miscellaneous clickbaity people. It's reputable people up here hyping up Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I refuse, sir. Not going to be able to do it. Take him off your list, Will. Turn this shit into a top 8 and take Daniel Jones off your list.
Hey, so basically you saying the national media is just hoodwinking us.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. Bamboozled. Led astray. Run amok. This is what he does.
Yeah. Hey, man, you made a fantastic point right there, brother. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Put Sam Howell on this list, man. At least he beat us before. Hey, man, appreciate you, bro. Have a good show, man. Love you, now.
The one and only Vosh Lombardi. Love you too, big dog. We will be back on Monday, and that's just a precursor of what we breaking, man. Hey, look, let me go back to the schedule real quick. 1 second here. Let me go back to the schedule. So Sam Howell's on the list. He's there. Probably could have put him up because he did beat us. You're right. That's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. Kyler Murray ain't gonna play. If Kyler Murray was healthy, he clearly would have been way above on this list, probably above a couple of these, probably top 5, honestly. Sam Darnold, I just couldn't, man. I look at Sam Darnold the same way I look at Daniel Jones, honestly. But look, the bottom of this list, in regards to Daniel Jones and Sam Howell and these guys, they all about the same to me. But yeah, I'm not nobody scared of no damn Daniel Jones. The fact that he got 140 or whatever it was before paying Saquon is wild to me. If he had been one of those type of QBs, you wouldn't think twice about it. But he ain't like that to me. Why would you not? Let me ask you this. I'm a Giants fan. I don't know if Authentic's up in here. I know he's a huge advocate of paying Saquon Barkley. But how do you not tag Daniel Jones and say, hey, let me see this consistently before I pay you or commit to you long term? Whereas with Saquon Barkley, you saw it right away, and you saw what he meant to you last year. But this ain't talking Giants. I can give a damn. Truly. I can care less. Sky, this is what Toxic says. Sky, Kyler is the best Call of Duty, player that we play next year, though. Absolutely. Probably play Call of Duty now. Oh, Twan believes that Daniel Jones with weapons is going to be a problem. I mean, what are you? So when are weapons coming? Are you talking about Darren Waller? I mean, yeah, he got Hyatt, but so yeah, I'm just not so. I'm sorry. I would say try to talk me into it, but I'm sorry. I'm just not sold on Daniel Jones, man. If I'm sold on anything, I'm sold on Brian Daboll. I think that Brian Daboll can help put him in good situations, and can Daniel Jones come through? You know, we'll see. But I'm just not sold on no damn Daniel Jones, bro. That's what I'm thinking. The Guru said, but Daniel Jones still has no weapons. I'm thinking is Hyatt going to just take them to different heights? Darren Waller is on, he's a good player. He barely plays, but he's a good player. Do you think Daniel Jones is better than Derek Carr, or is it Derek Carr? I don't think so. And they were a good duo in Oakland or Las Vegas, and what did that do? You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Daniel Jones would need a crazy, he would need to be put in, I think, Jalen Hurts situation. Number 1 offensive line, top 5 wide receiver duo, a scheme that is off the charts, in my opinion, to be viewed as a dude that, he gonna kill you this and that and this. I just not sold on Daniel Jones as a quarterback like that. Professor O called him a check down merchant. Here's another reason why too. Like when it comes down to the clutch, I did see him make a play or two earlier on in the season, but I also saw him turn the ball over as well. I also saw him, not be good. And again, 15 touchdowns. He just wasn't a great thrower for most of the season in general. We watched him against us. You watch him against us and you like Daniel Jones. I mean, anyway, the top 5 though. The top 5 I had A-Rod, Allen, Herbert, Hurts, and Stafford. Where would be the discourse? Do you guys believe in Josh Allen being number 1? Herbert being number 1. I can't get away from Aaron Rodgers being number 1 because he is the Cowboy killer. And I watched what he was able to do against the Cowboys last year with Poo-Poo at wide receiver. Christian Watson was dropping balls all season. Plays against the Cowboys, and he absolutely goes off and has a career day. So until otherwise, he's the number 1 Cowboy killer to me. So Toxic has Herbert over him. Their tags is touching though, But I'm not gonna argue. I like Justin Herbert. I may be in the minority here, but I'm a fan of Justin Herbert. I think he's a good quarterback. I think Justin Herbert is going to be one of those guys over the next decade that remains in that top 5 to 7 for most of his career. In fact, I'd argue Justin Herbert might have a higher ceiling than Josh Allen when it's all said and done. But Allen has that fantastic game against the Chiefs in the playoffs, where he lost about three seasons ago or whatever it was, and people are holding on to that a bit. I mean, he's had good regular seasons too, but as we know, y'all like to put out a regular season don't mean nothing to most of these guys. I believe it means something. It means something. That's why I got him at number 2. I think Josh Allen is a damn good quarterback. But I wouldn't argue with Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert got every single last tool you want to have in a quarterback. He's just got to, just like Dak, he's just got to finish. He's got to finish. Yeah, appreciate it, Shift. The angle I'm coming from is not necessarily top 10 in the league. It's top 10 the Cowboys will be playing. And Herbert's up there. If you're not a fan of Herbert, Twan, where would you put him on this list? You put him out of the top 5? Lemitra's list. Allen, Goff. Wow. That is interesting. Can I get an explanation on why Goff would be the second biggest threat the Cowboys would be facing? Very interesting on this one. Allen, Goff, Hurts, Herbert, Rodgers. I don't necessarily have an issue with the top 5 aside from Goff. The order is debatable. It is definitely debatable because of Goff. But when it comes to Hurts, Herbert, and Rodgers, you could probably argue, and Allen, in any order of that list. But Goff being number 2, that is, would not think of that one. And see, I'm just curious on fans like this. Just curious what this means. Is this fandom talking, T-Hawk, or is you legitimately think that Justin Herbert's trash? Because he said Justin Herbert is way, way, way overrated. He's trash. Look, I get it. Locker room talk. Maybe you just like, hey, man, he's trash. Dak Prescott for life, Cowboys, whatever. You truly believe Justin Herbert's trash? Hey, what are we watching here? I put Herbert middle of the pack, maybe 5 to 7, says Two Broke. Who would you put above Herbert? Twan says Burrow above Herbert. I mean, yeah, I think that is consensus. Burrow above Herbert. Consensus. However, I'm talking about on this list. Again, this is not a top 10 quarterback list of across the league. This is top 10 quarterbacks the Cowboys will be facing. Maybe that's where the disconnect is coming from. But damn, calling Herbert trash is wow. I think it might be one of those situations where if that quarterback played for your team, you wouldn't view it that way. You know, you wouldn't view it that way. But Lemitra, why Goff at number 2? That's really the biggest one here, aside from calling Herbert trash. One of the comments that got me saying, I'm really interested to know more of why Jared Goff, who I have at number 6, I have him right outside the top 5, would be considered number 2. Let's holler at Marcus, though, in the meantime. What's good, Marcus?
Hey, man, happy Friday, Sky. What's good with you?
What's up, man? I'm good. I'm excited, ready to start this training camp talk next week.
Oh, man, you know it. You know it. Hey, man, I can't argue with you, man. I am sick to death of Aaron Rodgers, but man, until we can do something with him,
right.
Hey, he's the guy you most worry about. If we're talking about, history and track records and stuff like that, I know we all kind of in the moment and stuff.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, A-Rod done beat our head in a lot of different ways. And like you say, the one time we got him, it's because we kept him off the field. And we kind of had to do that because we knew our defense couldn't stop him. So it's funny, man. Just to a quick point about Justin Herbert, because, again, this has got more residue and tissue on it. Justin Herbert's probably the most talented, one of the most talented quarterbacks we'll face this season. The defense will. But having said that, again, as I've said many times, and I'm going to always believe, man, you got to think the game. The obviousness of how well Herbert can play the game, anybody can see he's a top 5 quarterback easy, just based on talent alone.
Yeah, he's got, I think, every tool you want when you want to build a quarterback. I think he has every last one. His whole thing, again, is going to be finishing. He needs to have the playoff success, or he's just going to go down as another extremely talented quarterback that doesn't have the resume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a younger Matt Stafford. We're talking about Matt Stafford on your list. He's a younger Matt Stafford at this point because he's got the same talent and ability Matt Stafford had. But, just organizationally, they couldn't get it together. They had blitz rises here and there in Detroit with Stafford. But, Herbert is approaching that same type of career trajectory. Hopefully, I hope that doesn't happen for him. But, it's looking like that because, again, it's about, man, you got to have some people, my mom used to tell me all the time, everybody can't do whatever they want to do. Somebody's got to have some sense sometime because that's the only way you're going to get things done and get some progress. So, I don't know how at this point Herbert's dangerous, but on your list and us facing him and knowing what he's going to have over there as an OC in Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore probably going to have a whole lot more freedom over there than he had with us, believe it or not. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much Herbert.
Do you want Kellen Moore to have? Do you want Kellen Moore to have a bunch of freedom?
It ain't about what I want.
Well,
that's what he's over. That's why he's in.
You're speaking. I mean, we're kind of speaking as like a Chargers fan in a sense, right? Like he got Kellen Moore now, man. So he might got more freedom. Look out. My thing is, do you want Kellen Moore to have more freedom? Now, Chargers fans might say yes because they had Joe Lombardi, who they did not like as an offensive coordinator. So they get this young whippersnapper in here that said, "Oh, Cowboys #1 offense, absolutely, let him go crazy." I would say be cautious.
Right.
Be cautious in letting Kellen Moore go crazy. It might not be a bad idea to have somebody say, "Hey, dog, you know, we trying to win here. We ain't trying to put up the best numbers. We trying to win."
My rebut to that is who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop Kellen Moore from being Kellen Moore?
So look, I think we might have PTSD of him being here in Dallas. There is no Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones in L.A. He ain't their stepson over there. He's just another coordinator that came in there. Their head coach is their head coach. I forget his name is slipping my mind. So there is no politics in L.A. like there would be here because there's no Jerry Jones where Kellen Moore was handpicked to be the next guy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that'll be an issue.
I track that. We will see. Again because Kellen Moore would probably have a shorter leash because they're not going to blame Justin Herbert if things go sideways over there. Again, Kellen Moore as somebody I think.
Well, would you take? Would you take any coordinator over Justin Herbert over the next 5 years? I wouldn't.
No, nobody would. Nobody would.
So if it don't work out, you rotate the coordinator, but you keep the goddamn top 10 quarterback. That's simple.
You keep the quarterback. Exactly. None of this is going to fall on Justin Herbert if it goes sideways. Nobody's going to care about the division he's playing in. It's tough. The AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. Nobody's going to care about that. If they stumble over there, that's going to be, that's going to fall on Kellen Moore, and that's all right with me because that's their business and not ours no more.
Facts.
I would put Goff on your list, man. I would put him right now. I put him. Even though he's not as talented as Josh Allen, I consider him right now to be more of a threat to us in this season than Josh Allen would be. Even though we're going to play Allen late in the season, he's going to have a weather advantage. I just think Jared Goff, he's been coached very well up there in Denver. He's kind of has a renaissance up there.
Detroit.
I think we underestimate how good Detroit has been offensively. They're still putting things together, but in a lot of ways, Jared Goff is seasoned. He's played on winning teams. He got carried a lot by Sean McVay and Todd Gurley early in his career in L.A. And he had to kind of go through that epiphany. I think McVay said it just seemed like, he had to hold Goff's hand a little bit too much. But he seemed to outgrown that in Detroit a little bit. And they actually look pretty good. They can be a scoring team. They can mess up people's stuff.
8 game stint is really what it was. 8 games, really, because Jared Goff was not that great. He wasn't that good either in his first year in Detroit. He wasn't that good to start in his second year in Detroit, and then he got good in his back half. You think he's more of a threat than Josh Allen because of what? Of an 8-game stretch?
Hey, man, recency bias. Look, you know what? And you said this yourself a couple of times with Josh Allen. And it's going to go to a larger point with me. Josh Allen can kind of do some spectacular things out there on the football field. Things you just don't see people do. And we tend to equate spectacular as fans from a viewing interest with winning. If you can do something spectacular, then you're probably got a better chance of winning than somebody who's going to be consistent. And I can get. Look, if you make a mistake with Josh Allen, and that's kind of where we at with Aaron Rodgers. You make a mistake with Josh Allen, or Josh Allen just overcomes the odds or does something superhuman. That can deflate a team. I can see that. Getting to people mentally. But to me, if you count on a guy being spectacular, being enough to beat you or beat everybody else, you kind of hedging your bet on luck. And I don't like luck in competition. You need some of that, but you don't put luck in front of talent. You don't put luck in front of responsibility, and you don't put luck in front of guts. You got to be tough, you got to be smart, and you got to be consistent.
Love you,
and
Marcus.
then maybe
Love you,
throw up
Marcus.
there
But
somewhere.
you ain't said nothing to you ain't give me my answer. Why Jared Goff as a bigger threat? That was sounded pretty. It sounded pretty as hell. But you know me, I'm gonna hold you accountable here. Why is Jared Goff a bigger threat to the Cowboys than Josh Allen? Go. Let's try it again.
Okay, I'll get specific. I think Jared Goff is a little bit more mature as a quarterback than Josh Allen is. And by that, I mean, we know Josh Allen will go off script. He will try to do too much. It's why he's turnover prone. He will try to do too many things on his own. I think Jared Goff, granted, I'll concede, it's a small sample size with Jared Goff. He's been toiling in obscurity, relatively speaking, in Detroit. But I do think there's something to a guy growing up a little bit, assuming some responsibility, even if it happens late. Being a late bloomer is not a knock against anybody. It happens. And I do think Jared Goff has matured enough to where he won't make as many mistakes potentially as Josh Allen would make. And that will just give you a chance. I'm not saying that pound for pound, player for player, Jared Goff is better than Josh Allen.
Okay.
I do think, though, I do think that can be compensated for the talent by the maturity. And I do think Jared Goff is a lot more mature than Josh Allen is right now.
That's interesting.
You got to play the game to see. But that's what I think about that, man. That's just what I think about that. Thank you for putting my feet to the fire, but that's what my thinking is.
hey, Marcus. So
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So then, now, when does crack? Now, so the cocaine's happening.
Oh, man, hey, man, I'm the playmaker. You forgot, man. It ain't the crack, man. It's the powder with me.
It's the powder. I got you. I'm just messing with you, buddy. All right, big dog.
All right, man, let me let you go. But, hey, look, we got to wait to see. It's operated. I'm big, man. I've seen all kinds of talent in the league.
That's fair.
I've seen it come and I've seen it go.
Yeah,
And so, hey, man, it ain't the guys with the big arms. It's the guys with the big brains. So
Gotcha.
We'll see how it goes, man. Go ahead and run your show, dude.
Yes, sir. Salute. I had to mess with him a little bit. So that's interesting. You brought up maturity. Goff is a mature guy for sure. Josh Allen he's just a good quarterback, man. He did save face and say he don't believe he's better. He just thinks that him being more mature will lead to less turnovers that can help them win. Hey, I'm down with that answer, dog. I don't agree, but I can dig it. I can dig it. 100%. It got to, Vosh. Got to. Let's see. Let's get 757 up here. What's good?
What up, Scott?
What's good, man? I thought you was in outer space somewhere, dog. What you doing?
No. I forgot to say my name last time. I called yesterday. This is Damien.
Damien, what's good, Damien?
No problem. I'm good. I like your list. But I agree with Aaron Rodgers. I just think it's really just boneheaded stuff that we do more than him. And he has a hand. He has the upper hand, but I just really think it's his coaching. So I think now that I just think we're in a better place now. So he's had our hand, in the last couple rounds, but I think we'll be fine this year. But I will put him at 1 for sure at top of the list. Yeah,
it's tough for me. Not look, is Josh Allen or Herbert better than him at this point? You could argue that, right? But I just watched a handicapped Aaron Rodgers
and that's another guy
beat Dallas.
Yeah, and it's always something he does last minute.
Yeah, Cowboys haven't beaten him since 2016, and they've lost to him every time they faced him in the playoffs. So it's I can't put him.
I'm glad we get him early.
Facts. Look, now if we want to talk about them in general, I think that the Jets have a huge chance to be a bust of a team, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I think now they could either be – they're boom or bust to me. I don't think there's a middle ground with them. I think they're either going to be a really damn good AFC team or they're going to just bust out completely. But I don't think it's just as simple as enter Aaron Rodgers and everything is going to be hunky-dory, in my opinion.
Nah, I don't think it's enough space for him. So, that ain't my business. Right. I don't think enough space for him over there, but we're gonna see.
Indeed.
And as much as I like Justin Herbert, he has a lot of talent. I'm just not worried about it. I mean, whenever we see him, he doesn't show me anything that's just, special. So that's another player that, like he has talent, but I'm not worried about.
See,
nobody on this list really is like, I'm worried about it. Maybe Aaron Rodgers the most, but Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Sherbert, it doesn't really matter. I want Cowboys, Cowboys in 18, Cowboys win the Super Bowl. That's my prediction. I'm not really worried about no team.
That's facts in the sense of I like my defense against anybody. Against
and
anybody.
Nobody got a Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
We got Micah Parsons.
We got Micah Parsons, and we arguably got the Micah Parsons of defensive coordinators in Dan Quinn. Feel me? We got him.
Yeah.
And then you added the two pieces that you needed to add to complete this defense and potentially make it a truly elite defense. I don't necessarily think the Cowboys ever were an elite defense over the last 2 years. I think they were elite at getting turnovers and sacking the quarterback, but that doesn't make you an elite defense. I think they have.
Now we have a.
Yeah, I think they have the potential to be an elite defense.
With Monty Smith in the middle. I mean, that's everything you need.
Yeah, and
not only when we get into the Super Bowl, we have Brandon Cooks, a veteran receiver, to teach the other receivers how to act when they get to there. So
don't forget about Gilly.
I think we're ready.
Don't forget about Gilly. Gilly
and Gilly to help Trayvon. I think we're ready at all levels of the game.
Yeah. I think this will be a true one.
So, I mean, Hurts, no more sneaks. You already know what Mike is saying.
Ooh.
So, I mean, it's not.
I like what Paul said here. Paul said you should put Mahomes on this list for the Super Bowl. I like that, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, like I said, I'm not scared of him either because we saw him with Micah. So now we have an actual offense to face them. I'm not worried about the Mahomes, and I'm not worried about them either. So Cowboys and whatever.
All right, D. Appreciate the call, good brother.
All right, man. You have a good one, Scott.
You as well. Yeah, I think they've added the two pieces that they needed to. And really, I'm going to say 2.5 because I get that we brought back Jonathan Hankins, but I think there's a difference between bringing in Jonathan Hankins mid-season, then missing 5 games, and starting off the season with Jonathan Hankins and Mozzie Smith and then Stephon Gilmore. And now we know that Deron Bland is like that. And now I think the national media is starting to understand, like, oh, wait a minute. I get they had a good defense last year, but are we kind of sleeping on this defense? And not sleeping, I shouldn't say that. Because there's certain people out there that believe we'll have a good defense. But what about the best defense? And it was Ryan Clark who talked about the Cowboys potentially having the best defense. Take a listen.
And so, RC, would you say that Dallas is has the best defense?
You know what? I'm a football player, so I will say this first off. We got to see them play a game. But sitting right here, right before training camp starts, I believe they have a chance to be the best defense in the entire NFL. And I don't believe there's an argument that can be put up for that. When you look at Micah Parsons now making that full transition, training the entire offseason simply to rush the passer, imagine how much better he can be that now he's not trying to play 2 positions each and every week. Mina talked to you about the depth that they now have in the secondary when last year, you know what it was? Hey, throw it away from 7. If we throw it away from 7, we are at least safe. But Deron Bland showed you down toward the end of the season that he can be a factor at the nickel position, and you had a former defensive player of the year. Dan Quinn has been sensational as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, so much so people speak of him being the head coach at some point. That's why Mike McCarthy's seat gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And Joe Witt, the pass game coordinator, whether it's blitzes, 2-minute, third down, always seems to be able to find pressure and capitalize by getting the ball back to the offense. I love what this defense is. I love going out and getting Mozzie Smith early in the draft. This team can definitely be the best defense in the entire league, and maybe that's more important than Dak Prescott not throwing 10 interceptions.
It's a Super Bowl winning defender right there, man. Non-biased. He ain't got nothing for the Cowboys or against them. He just, And look, the NFL Live is one of the few ESPN shows I respect from a football standpoint. Not too many shows, go in depth the way they do. So when they speak, sometimes I'll put my ear over there and listen. A lot of the times, honestly. But look, Ryan Clark has basically said everything that we have been talking about this entire offseason in regards to the defense. They added the 2 big pieces they needed to. They brought back Dan Quinn, which might have been their biggest get, not losing Dan Quinn. And you're going to have Micah Parsons, year 3. Osa, who already improved going into year 3. Sam Williams, year 2. Deron Bland, year 2, after already being one of the better slot cornerbacks in the league last year. This defense has a potential to be special, man. Which is why, when you're talking about this top 10 list, I respect our opponents. I respect these quarterbacks. They're going to be fantastic. You're going to lose to some of these guys. But none of them should really strike that much that type of fear into you where you go into the game not believing that your defense can't get it done, barring injury. But you should absolutely go into every week saying, hey, look, I get we got to play Justin Herbert, or I get we got to play Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers. But damn it, they got to play us. You know what I'm saying? $240. What it is, what it do.
What's up, Scott? It's Clebo, bro. How you doing,
Clebo,
man?
what's up, man?
Ain't nothing, man. I like your list. I agree. When I got one difference in there, but when you was naming your list, and I was like, oh, you got Aaron Rodgers number 1. I was like, Scott tripping. But then when you gave your reasoning for Aaron Rodgers number 1, I agreed 100%. But with that same reasoning, I agree with Voch. If you're going to give Aaron Rodgers number 1 because he beat the Cowboys, then Dan Jones shouldn't be on that list. He never beat the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't going to argue with you.
Agree with Voch on that.
I take them all. Look, if you want to remove Daniel Jones, I ain't going to fight you.
The only person I will move up, and not because I think this quarterback is better than the others, but because, like you said, going against the Cowboys, I will put Jalen Hurts number 2 in front of all of them. And the reason I say that is because when he played us last year, I mean, I know our defense is better than last year, whatever, but we never really stopped that read option. And the reason we got back in that game is because Philly, for some reason, stopped doing the read option. And then when they needed that last drive, they went back to it, and we couldn't stop them. So until Cowboys can prove that we could stop that, man, you know what I'm saying? Like me, you know what I'm saying? Like I definitely think I agree with Ryan Clark. I think our defense definitely going to be a top defense in this league, man. But until we can stop that read option, man, that kind of
Can I
think Jalen Hurts can.
Can I try to sell you on how we can stop it this year?
I hope you sell me, bro.
I'm gonna just say 2 names. Very simple here. 2 names: Mozzie Smith, Jonathan Hankins. Did any of those guys play? True. Well, obviously Mozzie Smith did, but did Hankins play against the Eagles last year?
Nah, he didn't.
Exactly.
You're right. We had no interior pressure.
Exactly.
You're right with that run game. You're right.
If those dudes can push that line of scrimmage backwards or hold it, because what the Eagles like to do is they like to play on the other side. That could be an advantage to the Cowboys because you're not having to dedicate as many men if say a Hankins or a Mozzie Smith can hold up 2 dudes or beat their one guy in the interior. The Cowboys couldn't really win, in my opinion, on the interior last year. And that's where it hurt. Because when you go watch that game, bro, if you look at the game, it didn't kill the Cowboys in the run game. They averaged less than 4 yards per carry. It was just those little nicks that got them. Or it might be 3rd and 4 and they get 5. Or it might be 2nd and 8 and they get 4, right? To make it 3rd and short. And then at the end of the game, when they ran like 12 straight times, they weren't gashing the Cowboys. They were just converting. All you need to do technically to convert, if you're averaging 3 yards per carry, is average 3.3 yards per carry and you'll convert a first down.
That's true. And to your point, I agree with that. Looking back at the game, a lot of times they was at that 3rd and 1. And when they get 3rd and 1, you know what they doing. Or 4th and 1, you know what they doing, that little quarterback sneak and pushing the quarterback.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And then a lot of it, too, like I guess you did sell me, because a lot of it, now that I'm thinking about it, not only not having Hankins or Mozzie to stop it, we had to try to adjust the defense to that. And then when they would do them quick little fakes and then throw a slant to
there you go.
We didn't have not even a Diggs, not Diggs, but my man Gilly out there. Yeah, we ain't had Gilly out there. So, all right, that's cool. I can see that.
I say this, bro.
I still want to see it, though.
Yeah, I say this.
I still want to see it.
What I want to see from them against Philly with Hurts, because they couldn't do the same thing, was exactly what you were alluding to. they got beat. Trayvon Diggs and these corners and these safeties, they got beat with a lot of the misdirection post snap, where you have a tight end going this way, and now you're bringing A.J. Brown behind the line of scrimmage, causing traffic at that second level, and he's getting wide open. Or they would run that read pass option, run pass option, RPO, put the ball in their belly, pull it out, and you got a quick slant, and boom, it's right behind them. It was really that type of offense that killed the Cowboys for them to score, as opposed to Jalen Hurts using his legs or the run game going off on Dallas. But the threat of the run pass option and the post snap action absolutely destroyed Dallas. And I'm hoping that is improved this year, because if the Cowboys can contain that, look, it's July and I ain't trying to make no proclamations or anything like that. But if the Cowboys can make that tough on the Eagles, this isn't going to be some 28-35 type game like it was last time, 40-34. Yeah. No. It'd be something around the lines of 19-23 or something like that.
Yeah, or if somebody would be putting them forward, it's gonna be the Cowboys,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see them still doing anything with that defense. Because I think the defense declined. You know what I mean? Because you get Carter and you gonna be playing Jordan Davis, but are they really better than Hargrave? You know, in first year, second year players better than Hargrave. You know,
Philly don't want to talk about it, bro. They sacked Dak 6 times in that game, and they still put up 40.
40.
With Michael Gallup, Noah Brown. Michael Gallup on 1 ACL. Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton just got signed. He was working at the mall for being a black Santa Claus, and they said, "Come on in, dog. We need you for this game." And he came in there and caught one of the biggest passes of his late career, I should say, for the Cowboys, and they put up 40 on him with their defensive line all there, with those cornerbacks all there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wasn't there, but the other dude was. Guess what? He coming back. So, they don't want to talk about that. Yes, y'all got Jalen Carter. Yes, y'all got Nolan Smith. And I respect who y'all brought in. But it ain't like y'all pass rush wasn't giving the Cowboys trouble anyway.
Exactly. And they rookies, man. You gonna tell me no rookies gonna give you what Hargrave was giving you last year, man. But can I deviate one? I just want to say one more last thing, man.
Gotcha.
It's a lot off topic, but man, Stephen Jones, man, I'm so through with this guy, man. When you hear him talking about, we like our guys, the Cowboys do such a great job drafting, man, and nobody can't deny that, man. But why is it we have so much problem signing our guys, man? Like, why is everybody got to go on the franchise tag, man? And I used to hear that, a few years ago, people was like, "Man, the Cowboys look at this as more of a business than they do want to win," and man, and I'm trying my hardest not to try to believe that, man, but it's kind of like, damn, that's what it's really looking like, man. Like, they are bottom line about their business, man, not really trying to win out here, man. And I'm not saying they're not trying to win, but I think the business part of it, just like from my perspective of it, it's just like, damn, like, you got all these great players, you got all this young talent, and people, all of them are coming up to their lap. Like, why don't we be more proactive? Save yourself some money. Sign these dudes after their second year, second or third year. Why do we have to keep going to the damn franchise tag, man? That junk, it's just so annoying, man. I love my Cowboys, but, I just wanted to throw that in, man. I had to vent that a little bit. And lastly, man, I just want to say thank you, bro, like, to you and all the other content creators, man, like a lot. I don't know. I don't hear it a lot, but I thank y'all, man, for this off season, bro. This is my first off season with you guys, listening to all of y'all, man. I don't know what I would have did, man. I be pulling I only had no hair, but I be pulling my hair out, man. Like the last few summers, like, man, it ain't nothing to do. But y'all gave us great content all throughout the off season, man. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate the love, man. We all do in this community, but I think honestly that's the funnest part of once the season's over is trying to find somewhere to go, daily to get content and be involved. And our community has provided that from February all the way up until we hit training camp. So proud to be a part of it.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, once again, man, appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And I'm going to check out your content when you're at training camp, man. Thanks a lot, bro.
Salute.
All right.
Yeah. He's not lying in regards to the front office treating it like a business as opposed to trying to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. We've argued that for years. but I will give them credit for doing things out of the norm this offseason when it comes to acquiring guys and kind of going all in their little way of going all in. Now, when it comes to paying these contracts or whatnot, they might be in the most tricky position that they've been in maybe ever, honestly, because there's so many contracts, like legitimate contracts that you could argue these guys deserve to have extensions or be re-signed or whatever, that are up, that I don't remember the last time it was this many, that are coming up. So they're in a tough situation, but I do think that they can get it done with, in my opinion, the guys that absolutely need to be here over the next 2 to 3 years to try to win this dang on Super Bowl. So I think they can do it. I just want them to stay clean. They don't need to go through the media with any of this. I know Zach did, and look, that's his prerogative. A lot of these players, that's what they do. But we don't need Dallas to get back into that bag, right? We don't need that. That's dirty negotiations, and that's a lot of the reason why we kind of got on them in the first damn place. So it's tricky. I'm not going to act like this is an easy situation for them, but Diggs, Lamb, you got to bring those guys back. Steele, y'all know how I feel about the tackle situation, right? You got to get something done with him. Now Zach is talking about potentially trying to get paid as well. You got to get something done with Zach. And that's, you draft well. These are the things that you face. But look, if you're not going to spend a ton of money in the free agency pool, then you got to spend it on these type of dudes. And for the most part, they do. For the most part, they absolutely do bring back these type of guys. So we got time. You got to get it right. 808 Heartbreak. What's good?
Hey, brother Steele, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine, man. How you doing down there in Hawaii?
I'm doing good, man. What you call it? I didn't get to call in this week. Work's been busy, but I've still been keeping up with the show for the most part. Hey, great work, man. This week was, especially when you went overtime that last show, interesting characters came on, different perspectives. Hey, you're doing great work, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no, I don't really, in terms of the topics today, I would say the Zach Martin situation, it breaks my heart with that. It's because you got to make business decisions, but for me, I was like, a lot of Dallas fan base and the organization always complains about not getting what they paid for after they paid them.
Yeah.
So when you got a guy like Zach Martin and stuff, he's giving you every single worth of your pennies and stuff. When he asks for more money, it kind of hurts to tell him no. But for us as a fan base, so that's how I feel about the Zach Martin subject.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of cut and dry. The dude is still playing at the highest level of football at his position. He's a stalwart on your offense. I mean, I showed you the statistic. When he's on the field, you're just better than when he's off the field. And if he shows a desire to want to stick around for the next, 2 or 3 seasons, then let's get this thing done.
Yeah. And before Micah Parsons came in, you could ask a lot of the Dallas fan base. He's arguably our best player on the field. Well, obviously before Micah Parsons came, but in terms of athlete and all type of stuff, anytime Zach Martin's on the field, he was our best athlete.
Yeah, we did a rankings list last year. I want to say I might have had Zach at number 1 or 2. It was either Micah or Zach. We did a rankings of the top 50, or I think it was top 50, top 40 Dallas Cowboys on the roster, and I think Zach was 1 or 2 last year.
I got you. But speaking on your list, man, I don't really got any problems with your list. The main thing is, I'm a real X and O guy. I like to look into the film, especially ever since I came out of college ball and stuff. So The thing is, I think most of the Justin Herbert hate is just the guys who aren't the X and O guys. I think if you really watch the film, if you know all the other factors and all that type of stuff, you wouldn't hate on Justin Herbert as much as everybody else does. Because I love the guy. I think he's, in terms of talent, like I'm saying ceiling, and I'm not saying this is where he's at now. I think he's top 3. He's right there, the most talented quarterbacks in the league: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. And that's just talent. I'm not saying he reached that, because when I say I give credit where credit's due, I also got to say I give criticism where criticism's due. He does got to do better.
You got to finish. Again, that's why I said this. I don't want to make this list about top 10 overall in the league or what have you. Just who we are facing. You're right. I think he is one of the most talented quarterbacks that is in the league. But again, talent is just one aspect when it comes to your legacy or what's on your resume overall. So overall, yeah, maybe you can argue he's down that list. But from a talent standpoint and from who the Cowboys are going to face, I don't think it's debatable that he's a top 3 guy the Cowboys will face this year.
Yeah, but honestly, your list and stuff like that, it just makes me see red. There's nothing wrong with your list, but to me, I don't see top 8, top 10. None of the other quarterbacks I'm worried about. Dan Quinn has put a confidence in my heart. Michael Parsons, they all put a confidence in my heart that don't make me scared of nobody.
Yeah. This defense, I think, is going to be the best in the league, if not 1, 2. So, yeah. So when you have a defense like this, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Because your defense can make it difficult on that said quarterback. But yeah, I'm with you. I respect all of these quarterbacks, especially the top 5 guys or what have you. But I'm not afraid of any of them week in, week out. Aaron Rodgers, though. Aaron Rodgers has been beating us, but I'm not really afraid of these guys.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why when I was looking at your list, yes, the other guy was talking about top 8 and stuff like that. All I seen was top 1. This guy, Aaron Rodgers, man, he's like the bane of my existence. I swear, I can't stand the guy. He's one of the most talented players I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. In terms of being a Dallas Cowboy fan, he's ruined so much of our playoff hopes and stuff. And the thing was, going into last year, I was like, okay, we finally have a defense, man. We should beat this guy. I don't see why he would even have a chance against us. This dude pulls it out again. I'm just like, for me, all the other quarterbacks I ain't worried about. Aaron Rodgers, I swear, like, it doesn't matter what he had. He can come in with a wet paper towel and beat us. But, yeah, that's all I'm really worried about. I don't know how everybody's selling low on Aaron Rodgers and stuff. Aaron Rodgers on the field, you always have a chance of winning the game and having a great season.
Facts. I can say that about our guy, too, but, not everybody respects him. It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, but then again, like I said, most of the guys who hate on some of these players, they're not really into the X's and O's. They don't see the whole field and stuff. They see it from their point of view, and then a lot of them tend to listen to the mainstream medias and let it change their opinion.
And most of, let's just be honest, most fans don't really care about any of that. It's just, did you get it done or did you not get it done? And then once the season's off, they turn it off. Once the season comes back on, they turn it back on. They're not really, they don't turn on film. They don't turn on the details of the game, the stuff that kind of drives most of us diehard fans. Half of them scoreboard watch. Half of them don't even watch the games in general. They did the Cowboys win? What happened there? How many? And then that's that. There's so much more nuance to the game that I think makes the game so much fun and the best in the world. But hey, look, you're not going to have everybody on one side or the other when it comes to how they fan. So I respect them people as well.
Yeah, no, I got you. Well, I won't take up too much time. Actually, real quick, I was watching beginning Monday. So, respectful correction, Junior Fehoko, he's actually not Samoan. He's actually Tongan. That's going to be Tongan. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes, I am.
But yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I don't know if I might have said it cracking a joke wise. I'll try to elaborate, or I try to call those guys island boys. Because I know you can be from the island, but you cannot be Samoan. You can be Tongan as well. And I remember that. I discovered that from the cat that played for BYU. There was a big Tongan dude. It might have been Tonga. That might have been his last name. If y'all can help me with the dude's name. I think he went to Detroit or Chicago. I can't remember his name. But I was doing some draft coverage, and I called him Samoan, but he obviously was Tongan. His last name was Tonga. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize there were two different things here. So definitely want to make sure I'm right and respectful in that. So he's Tongan, and I'm imagining so is Vita Vea.
Vita Vea, Tongan too.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's about it and stuff. I'll let you go on with the show. Hey, great work, man. And every time, like I said, I love to see it. You give us something to watch on the off season. This is my first off season with y'all. So,
Kyrus Tonga, that was his name.
Oh, okay, but yeah, no, but definitely give us something to watch on the off season, man. It's my first off season with you guys, so it's gonna be also my first time tuning in to Oxnard with you guys. And I wish y'all good luck, man. I'm looking forward to see it.
Salute, man. Appreciate you, my oos.
All right, God bless, brother.
Yeah, man. I wanted him too. The Tonga cat. Where did he go? I thought it was either Detroit or Chicago, or it might not have been Detroit. Maybe it was another one, but it was one of those big dudes. I wanted one of those big dudes. The Cowboys didn't get one. Eventually, we finally did, though, with Mozzie Smith. So I refuse to say Vita Vea's real name. You got to tune into. He went to the Bears. I appreciate it. You got to tune in and watch the show, man. We had a whole segment on that. It was hilarious. It's hilarious. So he went to Chicago. Okay. So y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, let's get to these super chats and go ahead and wrap it up. These last couple shows can go a little bit longer due to the fact that we're about to hit the weekend. And then next week, we will be starting our training camp talk. I was going to start it today, but I was like, nah, I want something light, something fun. And then on Monday, we'll get into what we're going to be looking for in this training camp and probably talk about what we think is best heading into this training camp. And then Tuesday, the practices start. So by Wednesday, we should start hearing stuff from practice. We'll be getting some people that have been down there on the show. And we'll also be down there ourselves July 31st. I'll let you guys know the details on that. So Lamitra dropped one earlier. I said, hey, Lamitra, call in.
Super chat.
Let me know why Jared Goff is number 2. Jared Goff is number 2. She dropped 2 and said, I'm sorry. She did say something earlier in the sense of she would call in, but her voice was a bit gone. But she said he has a wide receiver room that may beat us. Fair. But so does this guy, and I can't put him higher. You know, I think Tua Tagovailoa has the best wide receiver room probably on his list, or duo. Let me say duo, because I think the Chargers, they got a pretty deep room. But from a duo standpoint, but I got him at 7. You know, if we're talking offenses, I know I didn't put Jared Goff in the top 5 last time because we were talking about just basically wide receivers, the passing attack. I don't think he has the receivers of some of these other guys. But from an offensive standpoint, Ben Johnson, his scheme, the offensive line, being able to run the ball, things like that. Yeah, the Lions are going to be a challenge this year. They're going to be a challenge for a lot of people. JR, the mailman.
Super chat.
He dropped 2 and said, how does the Zach Martin situation play out? I'll keep it short and sweet. I think Zach Martin will get an extension. Yep, I think he'll get an extension. From the sounds of it, he's been trying to get this extension or has come to the Cowboys maybe over the last season, and they've kind of just scoffed at him. Well, now he's starting to hold his weight and saying, okay, if that's the case, well, I won't be at camp or whatever. I'm serious about this extension. If Zach Martin is not worthy of an extension, then who is? Who is? And I believe we got through all the super chats throughout the show. Yes, sir, we did. G said, I'm not banking on it. Man, I hope it does. Said, I'm not banking on it. Black Lion just dropped one, just saw it come through.
Super chat.
He says, Zach's been our best lineman since Larry Allen. Yep. Dak is a top 6 Q. He never had a losing season. If he played for any other team, the media would praise him. Also facts. Also facts. And the Guru said, could the Lions sneak up on us for a surprise upset? Would you consider the Lions a team that you would call an upset type of team? Would you consider the Lions that? I don't know, man. I think that's a good team. Last year when we played them, they had one of the worst offenses. I'm sorry, one of the worst defenses in the league, but they turned that around real fast. So if their defense can kind of step up and be serviceable, yeah, it'll be a tough team. I don't look at them as this is just going to be a cakewalk dub. It wasn't a cakewalk dub last year, you know. So I don't know if I would call that an upset, Black Line. Now you could argue, hey man, we're supposed to beat all these teams. If you lose, it's an upset. But I actually respect the Lions on this schedule a lot more than probably most do. A lot more. D Shift drop one and said
Super chat.
Mount Rushmore of 90s cruiserweights. WCW, not WWF. WCW 90s cruiserweights. Oof. I mean, so 4? That's tough. Ray, Eddie, I would imagine would have to be up there. But there was so many. I mean, Dean Malenko technically is one of the best cruiserweights of all time, but he's not the high flying type. You had Ultimo Dragon. Eesh. I don't know if y'all remember, but Chris Jericho was also in that division. But you're talking about 4. Ray, Eddie have to be there. I'm such an advocate for some of the old school. I gotta put Dean, man. Dean Malenko is so underrated. Yeah, Psychosis, Billy Kidman. It's tough, man. I'm gonna go Ray, Dean, Eddie. I'm gonna say Ultimo Dragon. Because I tell you this, anytime I turn on WCW in the 90s and the Cruiserweights was on and Ultimo Dragon was performing, he almost always put on an A+ match. Nah, I don't think Six or X-Pac I would put in the Mount Rushmore. Besides, he had a very short stint in WCW. He realized, oh, they crazy over here. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Fun question, man. One of those questions that will make me want to get a damn podcast for wrestling, for sure. Professor O said Chris, Ray, Dean, Eddie. Can't argue Chris. Can't argue Chris Jericho there either. Ultimo Dragon. Carol said Ultimo Dragon, Dean Malenko, Ray, and Eddie. That's my 4. That's where I got. Beetlejuice, stop. Yeah, the Radicals, man, they might have been one of the few that made the invasion or what have you, or the transfer over to WCW at the end. Like, they did it big. I thought that was dope how they brought it in. Now, obviously, they couldn't all stay together, Saturn and Dean Malenko just didn't fit at that point in time. He's like the prototypical 90s down south type of wrestler, but not attitude era type of wrestler. But it was Eddie who stood out, and rest in peace to Eddie Guerrero, man. GOAT. He was, yeah. Billy Kidman was definitely on that Tony Hawk type of image. Weird because he didn't quite have the Raven get up, but Raven also kind of jean shorts cut off with the plaid dip tank top type situation, leather jacket. He went further with that whole look. But Kidman and Raven kind of had that skater punk type of look. Yeah, Aztec, I agree. He said the Cruiserweight division was the heartbeat of the company through the 90s. Especially, I'm going to say it was the heartbeat right after the whole NWO thing started to die down. Because if you go watch the Monday Night Wars, which is fantastic, the NWO heat was good for about 2 years. I should say good. It was elite for about 2 years. And at the end of that 2 years, it started to be like, all right, what's good? And you start seeing these cruiserweights just holding up that company for a long time until, Vince Russo came over, destroyed the company. It was already going to be done anyway, but we're getting into nuances of this. This is why I need to start a wrestling podcast. My bad, Cowboys Nation. I can go on and on and on, man. But before we get out of here, please hit that like button. We be back Monday, me and Voch, the Voch and Brody live show. Cannot wait. Excited for that. And then excited to get down to camp and link with my bro. Mo will not be on today. Yesterday was his last show. In fact, you won't see us till Sunday here on A to Z Sports. But it's all good. Subscribe if you're new here so you can hit that bell and know when we do drop a video or go live. Too Cold Scorpio. Yeah, they did him so wrong when he came to the WWF. He was dope too. He was dope. But all right, y'all, let me go ahead and get up out of here, man. I had fun today. Again, this is why I need to get one of them. I kind of want to talk wrestling with people that are interested in it. I'm very, very passionate about WWF. Glacier experiment. Expensive gimmick, he said. Glacier. Who was the fake? They had a fake Undertaker at one point, too. Ridiculous. Nope, we back. We back 5 days a week. Next week, barring travel or whatnot. But we back on every day. I'll see y'all then. We out here. Peace. I only like old school wrestling. I could do new school well, but it's more fun when we talk that old school.
Bomb Squad!